All right. I am here today with another person who has graciously been willing to share their personal story of dealing with COVID-19, the 2019 novel coronavirus. As we all know it, the coronavirus, but I had to be scientifically precise on that. Her name is Lindsay Wheat. She happens to be the daughter of Alan Kesten, who was our first person to talk about that. He's our county coroner. Lindsay is a commissioner with the Monticello Fire District and also an interpreter for the deaf. But currently, right now, she is at home. And we're going to find out how this all came to be. Lindsay, how are you today?
I'm doing well, thankfully. I'm doing well. Thank you.
That's good to know. But my understanding is your experience was a little different from your dad's in dealing with coronavirus, which is why we wanted to talk to you today. And again, thank you for being willing to share. So, if I can find out a little bit about this, you grew up in Monticello. Or you from Monticello? You spent your life here, and
I am from here. I went to high school here and then moved away to Florida for college and then spent the next decade there. And I'm back. I'm here. I've been back here for about 5 years.
okay. Well, welcome back. Sorry that we had COVID here waiting for you, but if we can talk a little bit about that, you came down with it when, and how do you think you got it?
Well, it's so unpredictable. It's tough for me to say because, my dad and I are not sure who shared this kindly with each other. But it is allergy season, and I suffer from allergies every year. I get an annoying cough, stuffy, all the above. So at first, I honestly thought these were my allergies. And, my dad and I were one of the first cases. So I was very new in the game, and I treated them, my symptoms, as allergies. Mm-hmm. I began to take allergy pills. For about 4 days, they were not working. I had, which I still have, so I apologize in advance if I cough, but tightness in my chest, an annoying cough. I couldn't finish a sentence without coughing. I had no sense of taste or smell, which was new. And I ignored my symptoms for probably 4 or 5 days, thinking they were my allergies. My father called me and said he was in the ER that night and had a fever. I did not check my fever. Again, this was very new in the game. I assumed they were my allergies. As soon as he told me that he went and got tested, I was told by him to self-isolate myself. Luckily, we had a vacant apartment where I could go and be away. I needed to stay away from my father. He does have a business to run. So since he was told to quarantine, I was really the only other person that could go in and help him with that. I do have a family. My husband has kids. So we made the decision for me to completely pull myself away from essentially from everybody. Oh. I got tested the next day after my father. My father's results came back, as mentioned in his interview, the following day. His results were expedited. Mine were not.
Yeah. So when did you get tested, and when did you find out?
I got tested on March 28th, the day after my father did. I had already known at that point that my father came back positive. I went to Catskill Regional and told them my father is in fact positive and I am not feeling well, described my symptoms, and they tested me. My test did not come back for 7 days.
Wow.
Which was hard because Like I said, I was completely isolated. Being sick and alone is a tough pair. So had I known my results, I would have quarantined with my dad. You know, we both had it. It would have been nice to kind of be there and take care of each other. But being that I didn't have my results for 7 days, I didn't know if it was allergies, a chest cold, or if I also was positive. So I was alone through the worst part of it.
And just since I know people are going to be curious, who are we hearing in the background? Which dog is it?
So this is Gibson, who just
Oh.
opened the door himself, let himself in. I apologize.
Not at all. I love pets. I do too. So
Several. He's my
I
9-year-old.
get. Is he hearing my voice and barking at me, or?
You know, it could have been a branch. It could have been anything.
All right. Well, I don't mind that he joined us. So, okay. If you need to do anything with him, let me know. We can pause for a minute. Oh, he's so cute.
He's old.
So you didn't start quarantining until you got the test result back.
No, I quarantined as soon as I found out my father was positive.
Oh, you did. Okay.
I did.
All right. But you still weren't sure for almost a week after that.
7 days it took for my results to come back. I called public health, and after the 3rd day, since I was told it would take up to 3 days, after the 3rd day, I called every morning. Again, I was very sick. My father luckily had very mild symptoms.
You know, what were you dealing with?
So I have a compromised immune system. I end up septic often. I spend a lot of time in the hospital. So when this started coming about, I was very concerned to begin with because of that. Also, shamefully, I am a smoker. So I think that in combination of those two, it really sucked me. I struggled, still struggle. I struggled with breathing. I couldn't complete a sentence without coughing. I went 2 days without even attempting to talk. It was difficult, achy. I didn't have a fever. I had a fever for 1 day, half of the day, and never had a fever again. Everyone's symptoms are so different. Mine was strictly in my chest, stuck to me hard, and also the no taste, no smell, which I think is one of the harder things to deal with as well, because it's now been 2 weeks and I have limited taste. I could tell if something is salty. I could tell if it's spicy, but I have no taste, no smell whatsoever still.
Now, your dad lost those senses as well, but he's got them back, right?
He got them back quickly. Again, I was very concerned for my father. As he mentioned in his interview, he is a diabetic. He's overweight. He is, older. We were all very concerned for him. He had mild symptoms. He got his taste and smell back, I think, in maybe a week. And this is staying with me longer. I am feeling better the last 2 days. Really, I think because, now my inhaler is a new norm, which I've never had before. I've never had asthma, but it's become my new norm. I'm doing several breathing exercises about 3 times a day. That has been recommended for Corona patients specifically. I steam up the bathroom. Steam is supposed to be good. I'm really doing, there's no other treatment other than symptomatic treatments. So I'm doing all that is recommended.
How many days did you really feel rotten?
I'd say a week and a half. I
Wow.
had, but for 3 days, I was honestly scared. I had 3 very scary days.
What was the scariest part, if I may ask?
I couldn't breathe. Every breath was a struggle, an effort. It felt like someone had to pull my lungs up and release to take a breath, which made me lightheaded and tired. I'm perpetually tired. I'm tired now. The littlest things, I've started to get up, walk around, do some household things, make dinner, and I'm tired after minimal activity.
But you didn't go to the hospital during those toughest 3 days?
I did not. On my second really tough day, I called my doctor and said that, I'll back up. When I got tested, they presumed I was positive because my father was positive and because of my symptoms, specifically the loss of taste and smell. So they treated me with a Z-Pak, Zithromax, and decongestant. And so after I finished that Z-Pak, which in 5 days, I got worse, which is when I called my doctor. And she recommended that I come in for a chest x-ray. And I told her I preferred not to. If I could stay out of the hospital, I really wanted to. Several reasons. The hospital is pretty crazy. And because of my immune system and because I was already struggling, I felt that it was safer to keep me out unless extreme emergency. So she prescribed me an inhaler and some other recommendations, which I began that night. It was nicely picked up for me and left at my doorstep. Nobody wants to come near me still, which is the tough part about it. Like I said, the isolation was tough. And, I asked my father if I could share this, but my father was retested. He wanted to donate his plasma for antibodies, and my father's retested, and 2 days ago he came back positive.
Oh no.
So that is after 3 weeks now. He's still testing positive, which makes this scary and frustrating because it's unknown if you are contagious, right? It's known if you are reinfected. So we just stay in isolation, and my father has been re-quarantined.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, since day of his test, was told by public health that he needs to quarantine for another 7 days.
He's feeling okay though.
He feels fine. He really feels great.
So you though are still on the road to recovery. You don't really have any idea how long it's going to take, right? Because this is so new.
Right. I'm really not sure. It seems to be staying with me a little bit. So,
Does the inhaler help?
Absolutely, but for a short period of time. The breathing exercises have helped. Laying on my stomach helps, which is something they've suggested when you're having a really hard time. There are little tricks that I've learned along the way. It's an effort, and it's scary how long this will stay with me. I've read some things that say may not get full function back of your lungs. There has been proof of that, but who knows? This is so new. I miss my friends. I miss my family. I have to stay away from everyone.
Now you have a spouse and children?
I have stepchildren. I do.
Yeah. And how do you communicate with them?
I mean, everyone's been wonderful. I'm so lucky. I've had I have people reaching out to me all day, every day, asking me how I'm feeling. I've been videoing with my friends. You know, we have virtual happy hour, which I couldn't really indulge fully in for a little while. But we are using all forms of technology to communicate with each other.
And obviously Gibson is there.
Well, so that's Tucker.
Oh, that was Tucker. Okay.
That's the other one.
All right. Well, but I'm curious too with your family. How do you communicate with your family? Do you have to do it over video, or are they nearby so you can at least see them from a distance? How are you handling that?
We've done all of the above.
Okay.
We've done all of the above.
So, I would imagine that's currently probably the hardest part, isn't it? Having to isolate like that?
So now the hardest part, I've gotten kind of used to just feeling and managing with it, not feeling 100%. Now the hardest part is truly missing my family and my friends. I joke about it to them. You know, I say, you guys make me feel like the plague. You know, no one wants to see me yet. But it's true. You know, even though I'm 2 weeks out of this, maybe even 3, I'm not sure how, you know, when this started. People are nervous. You know, they don't know if I'm still contagious or, so yeah, I miss people. It is lonely.
Are you going to attempt to get tested again?
I would like to. They're not doing that here. And there's so many people still waiting for first tests. So second tests are few and far between. My father drove to Duchess Stadium to get his second test.
Wow.
Which I don't feel comfortable doing.
Yeah.
Right now.
So besides videoing with friends and family, what else do you, and of course, working on your recovery, what else have you been doing to pass the time?
Luckily, I have these dogs. They're, I'm sure, tired of me. But they've been entertaining. I've been videoing with my deaf community, which has been awesome. I was asked to come into the city. Some people believe that I have, you know, these special antibodies now, so that I'm free and clear. I don't feel that way. My father doesn't feel that way, but they did ask me to come and advocate for them. I'm in the city interpreting and helping them get through this. I don't feel comfortable doing that. I have been just doing a lot around the house, doing anything to keep myself occupied. And again, my friends have been over the top amazing. My family's been incredible. I'm fortunate for that.
Yeah. In case any of the people from the deaf community who know you are watching this, is there anything you want to say to them?
Oh goodness. You know, it's tough for them because it's already hard to get testing done. It's harder for them to have someone advocate for them, to come with them, to interpret for them. So that's been communicated to me from them that they're having a hard time.
Mm.
I feel for them. That is tough. Something that people probably don't think of, but they're having a harder time right now. I've offered to do something like this, you know, to video. So that's still being worked on their end.
All right. Is there anything else you'd like folks to know? Anything that we haven't talked about?
You know, it's a tough balance. So I know that in the news they're saying, you know, please don't overwhelm the hospitals any more than they already are. Excuse me, if you're feeling symptoms, try to stay home unless it's an emergency. So there is a fine line, because also do not ignore it or assume that it is just your allergies. Like I said, testing took a long time. So you could have this and be carrying it and not realize it. So being that I just went through this, it's frustrating to see on social media people are still going out. I did see pictures and videos of locally people on quads, on their four-wheelers, out together in large groups, and they were not 6 feet apart. They were taking selfies together, and that is not following the guidelines here, and this is real, and it can happen. And my father and I are very fortunate, but there have been so many people, and locally, that have not been. So please stay home. If you do go out, please wear a mask. It's not just to protect you, it's to protect everyone else. I see a lot of people not taking this seriously. It's very frustrating.
You and me both. Yeah, our emergency operations center team watches that with some frustration as well. So, Lindsay, I wanted to thank you for your time. I hope we didn't put you too much out of breath, but I think the information that you shared with everyone was really valuable, gives them a good insight. And I know I'm speaking for everyone who's watching this. Best wishes for as speedy a recovery as possible so that you can get back with the people you love.
Thank you so much, Dan. I appreciate it.
Thanks for your time today. Be well.
Thank you. Thank you.